All right, so this video right here is super interesting. Let's get into it.
God's time.
Have you seen this video?
Hey, what's going on, people? Quick story time. Back in the days, I used to sell illegal things, to say the least. And it was real popular here in Miami that if you sold illegal stuff and you wanted to get rich, you wanted protection, or even you wanted something to happen to somebody, we'd go see the voodoo lady. She has a particular name. I'm not going to mention that name. We had a voodoo lady here in the Liberty City area here in Miami, and you'd go see her. You do the little ritual or whatever, and you go through the whole voodoo process. I'm not gonna touch into that. My boy called me, and he was selling some illegal things too. He called me. He said, "Whoa, you wanna ride with me? I'm going to see the voodoo lady." I said, "Cool, I'll ride with you." Mind you, I'm a pastor's kid. I knew God. I did believe in Jesus, but I was still in that life. We get there, me and him. We sitting there.
And that's something that's real interesting to me because it's like I've always been uncomfortable with going to places where people do magic and witchcraft and stuff because of the fact that I grew up in the church, right? And I understand that is real. So for him to notice and be comfortable still stepping in it, different type of brave.
in in the parking lot, and we smoking a joint. And when we finished smoking, he was like, "All right, let's go." So we go. We knock on the door. She comes to the door. She speak to him because he had been before. She speak to him. "Hey, how you doing?" Mentioned him by name. I won't say his name. She looked at me and she said, she called his name and she said, "You come in. Your friend can't come in." So he was like, "Oh, why he can't come in? You know, he cool." She say, "No, God knows him." So I mean, I'm a little shocked, but she say, and like a whole facial expression change, and she said, "No, he can't come in. God knows him." So my boy is like really pushing the issue, like, "Nah, he cool. Let him come in." And that lady said, "The devil doesn't want him in here. He doesn't own him."
He
I will
doesn't
never
own
forget
him.
that moment. My boy ended up going in and doing going through the process, but that always stayed with me when I was in the world, when I was away from God and doing everything I didn't have no business doing. Is that even when I was in the world doing wrong, God knew me. God was with me. But also, the devil didn't want nothing to do with me because he knew God had his hand on me. He
And that's
saw
the kicker right
God
there.
had his hand on me. And he probably knew what was going to happen, what's happening right now.
And so that's the part of the video that got me the most that I actually wanted to address is the fact that the devil, demons, evil entities, they know God's people and they know who God knows. Therefore, they don't want to interfere because they do not want to deal with the wrath of God. Therefore, people who are also stepping in ways and in partnership with these negative entities, with these devils, with these demons, they might not know exactly what it is, but something about you is disturbed, or something about you is disturbing them. Something about them is disturbed by your very essence and presence because the negative, evil, devil, demonic, demon entities that dwell within them that they've partnered with get irritated. And so they get irritated and they don't know what and why. And so as anyone, the thing that I want to say to anyone who is a firm believer and follower of God, Christ, and they know that God knows them and that they've had a relationship with the Father, sometimes you'll be denied entryway into certain groups, into certain settings, into certain situations, into certain jobs, positions, because the anointing on your spirit annoyed the demons on the other person's spirit. You don't necessarily have to do anything other than walk in the light of truth. The truth of God is strong enough to cast out any negative entity and to highlight them. And the one thing about a lot of negative, you feel me, people in general, not even just saying demonic level, not saying demons, not even taking it that far. Just one thing about a lot of people who operate highly in a negative state, they don't want people to know. They hide it. If I'm super vindictive, I'm not going to walk around letting everyone know the level of my vindictiveness. I'm not going to let everyone know how jealous I am of people. I'm not going to let everyone know the level of animosity that I harbor towards people, because then I'd have to justify it. And if the only reason is because I'm irritated by the glory of God operating in their life and on this person, then everyone else who's also seeing it, who doesn't have a problem with them, is going to look at me like I'm the problem. And therefore, they'll hide it. They'll cover it up. They'll act as if it doesn't exist the whole time. They'll be denying you entry to places that you deserve access to. And I'm not saying this man deserved access to this woman's house by any means. I'm just calling out the fact that she was tuned in, she was tapped in, and she already knew before she even let him in that the demons she had partnered with were going to be upset if he came any further. Not every person is a voodoo queen who has partnered with some negative entity or some demonic force. Some of them are everyday people who are just operating out of traumatic experiences and out of negativity and out of the hurt and pain that this world has inflicted on them. And they have yet to learn how to transcend that and to rise above it and to transmute that energy. And you have to want to be a good person and be nice in order for it to happen. It doesn't just fucking fall into your lap, right? So for people who haven't consciously made these decisions and partnerships, but have fallen into, covenant with demonic forces, they're not going to know what it is. They're just going to know they can't stand when you're around, or your presence angers them, or they feel some type of way. And so the only solution that they have is to cast you out, push you aside, and try to bury you. Or they'll actually think that they have to get at you or get even with you or fight you or combat you when you haven't even risen in any type of opposition. You've literally just been doing the things that God has called you to do, and that alone is enough to irritate them and set them off. And so I just want to highlight that fact for people who are walking with the covering, who are in partnership with Christ and God, who do know the Father, who want to be better people and sometimes feel as if they don't know why attacks are coming their way from people in their lives or people in the world, is not always because of anything that you're outwardly doing. It's the covering on your spirit and the blessings of God that the demonic realm and the spirit realm can feel. And this person might not know that they've come into covenant with jealous, evil, angry entities, and these entities are working through them. And that's why you have to be careful about who you partner with, who you go into communion with, who you go into covenant with, who you go into contract with. Because it might start off hunky-dory, but you didn't know that you were irritating their demons every single time you came around. And they might have been able to hide it for a little bit, but the longer they stay in contact and communion with you, the more outrageous these demons are going to react in the end. So cover yourself, be careful, and don't trust everybody. And don't take it lightly that God knows you and that you've started a relationship with him, because it's bigger than you and it's bigger than just him.